Stream Deck alternatives have slowly trickled into the market, and while devices like the Loop Deck and the Master Hub have come out, they also kind of cater to a different subset of people who want devices like this. Well, Fifine has released the Ampligame D6 stream controller to challenge the standard 15-button Stream Deck, and it's probably the best competition for it that I've seen yet. Let's talk about this. I want to get this out of the way and start by stating what I don't like about this device. It uses a really low profile integrated stand, which puts it at a less than ideal angle for seeing the buttons with this on your desk. I immediately look for a workaround by 3D printing myself an angled stand, and it's much better with that. If you don't have a 3D printer and want this stand, drop a comment down below and we'll figure something out. Secondly, and I hope a firmware update fixes this, when I sleep my computer, the device stays powered up. I don't like that. Press a button on it and the screen turns off, sure, but the RGB still stays on. So I'm hoping that gets fixed. See, that's off. But not that. Not yet, at least.
Okay.
So the only other kind of device Fifine has made that has buttons and things for interactivity is the SC3 Mixer, and it's a cheaper device with completely different kind of buttons and faders. I can see how this might worry some people regarding overall build quality on a device like this, but worry not. Buttons feel as good as any Stream Deck. It has a detachable USB-C cable with an integrated C to A adapter, and the quality of the image on the buttons is perfectly acceptable. I'm usually critical of Stream Deck alternatives for having the same quality of button instead of going with a mechanical switch type of button, but since this currently costs $68 on Amazon, I can forgive that. That's almost half as much as a 15-button Stream Deck Mark II. Also, the buttons are slightly bigger than your average Stream Deck, which is kind of nice.
Nice.
I need to ask you something. Are you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Because if you're not, hit that subscribe button and also follow over on Twitch. Links are right over here. All right, I'm out of here. I don't like it over there. A trend I've noticed with Stream Deck alternatives, and this Fifine Ampligame D6 is no exception, is that the softwares for them tend to look like Elgato software. At this point, Elgato's strength is the depth of their plugin library and their ecosystem. But here's the reason this is now my favorite Stream Deck alternative. Whatever software backend Fifine is using, it has its own very well-equipped plugin library. With very little effort, I was able to fully recreate the majority of my most commonly used buttons for streaming and other stuff. I needed only to get the WebSocket info configured in OBS, and then it was off to the races. So here we are with the software, and like I mentioned, it does look like the Stream Deck software from Elgato, as you can see, but a benefit to that is that it makes it really easy to figure out how to actually set it up and get all the buttons configured. For example, in the OBS Studio tab, which is there by default, I didn't actually have to add a plugin for OBS Studio on there. I'm just going to go over to Scene, drop it there, and the one thing that I mentioned about the WebSocket stuff, it's here under View Connection Information. That's where you set that up with info and the WebSocket stuff in your OBS Studio. And then once you have that set up, you have access to all your scenes here. So if I wanted to just program a scene into it, there it is. I'm going to call it BRB. You see the text pop up on the button. I'm going to make that text a little bit bigger and align it to the top. And then I'm going to go ahead and push that button. And there we are, right to BRB. Other options in OBS that you have access to are actually like source visibility stuff and audio mixer stuff. I've actually set up it's a microphone mute that will mute my mic just in OBS, not system wide. I can mute it there, still talk to friends in Discord or in other stuff, and it's just awesome. It's just a button on there. Like you can see, it says source mic aux. That's what I have it set to. I push that button. Push that button again and we're back. It's actually very useful to have controls on buttons that control stuff directly inside of OBS Studio without affecting your system overall. It really gives that separation of stream control that you get when using stuff like that. Something that actually I think is a bit of a big deal is that they have multi-actions, but they don't call it that. They call it operation flow. So I've set my stream on operation flow. I go there and you can see it says include 10 items, and I've set all my if this then that custom plugs, lights, and studio stuff that I have set up all around the room to this. And all these are through if this then that. I push that one button and it executes all of these. That's like what the Elgato software does with multi-action. These guys call it action flow. Works the same and it works great. I really enjoy the fact that it has that on there. And now just running through some of the other stuff that you can see on the side, you have the ability to create folders. That's within the Fifine Control Deck button there. So if you want more buttons, but you don't want to be going through pages or all sorts of stuff like that, changing different scenes on it in the software, like it shows here, I just have it on the default scene, create a folder, and then you can nest your buttons into there. And then there's always the return button that's there. You push that button on the deck and it goes back, and we're here. So you can have other stuff like hotkeys, buttons to go to specific websites, text, passwords. You have multimedia controls. So sometimes if you have a custom keyboard, you don't always have your play, pause, or volume buttons on the keyboard like some nicer keyboards have. Well, or some other different keyboards have. And you can just throw that onto the deck, and that way you can listen and control to your music right on there as well. Basic usage, sure, but useful nonetheless. And if you scroll down here, you see integrations for YouTube. We have notes, recordings of to-dos, performance monitors, CPU usage, CPU temp, memory, time options. You can set a timer, you can set a countdown, and it'll show it on that button. So kind of good to memorize certain things. There was a giveaway button that I liked, and I'd probably set a multi-action then that would use the giveaway button with a timer, so I know when to end it, when to start it. Does it all within it, so it's super nice. You see Photoshop options. You can have buttons set to blur, brush, canvas, cutting, decolorization, inversion, all sorts of stuff, even Adobe Premiere Pro, and as you can see all that. Now, in conversations with people that I know that edit for a living, they don't always see these kinds of things as beneficial to them, being able to take their hands off the keyboard, putting them onto a different thing, push a button, then bring their hands back when they already have access to some of these shortcuts on the keyboard themselves. But if your workflow is one that is heavily dependent on control surfaces like this, well, this can come in handy.
Listen, Chris, it's just not viable.
Additional plugins by famous plugin maker BarRaider are available here, and you see now I have OBS tools that I added, so you have a little bit more control over OBS. You have custom, which is what I use for if this and that, and also SoundPad integration. Gotta have that SoundPad integration. And it's something that's fun for streams. It routes audio into the microphone line, so that way if you're playing video games, if you're talking in Discord, and you wanted to just play different sound effects, that goes through the mic that everyone can hear, regardless of what game or application you're using. SoundPad is awesome for that, and I love that I can just press a button on this stream controller and have all that play, and I don't have to like navigate out to it or anything like that. On my bigger Stream Deck, I actually have a folder full of these, and that's something I could set up on here really easily due to the availability of this plugin as well. Speaking of the plugins, you can just go up here to this blue button, click store, and you see a lot of Fifine's products are going to be listed here. Cool and all, but you go over to plugins, and this is the meat and potatoes of what I like so much about this first attempt at the device. What I mentioned about the software, these plugins were made for probably a different, I don't know, maybe control pad, other Stream Deck alternative, something. Maybe there's a bit of an OEM situation and a generic software that's being used with them. But whatever the case is, it's there. We have lots of plugins. I'm scrolling down here. There's Productivity, Blender, Cinema 4D. You have your Spotify, more OBS stuff, Twitch stuff, Windows stuff like this WinTools one. All sorts of, you can see here, streaming, monitoring, music, smart home, developer tools, social. So you can do YouTube Ticker, YouTube Live, utilities, weather, speed test, macros, hardware info, if this and that, screensaver stuff, stopwatches, audio control stuff for like voice mod, voice meter even, and their SoundPad. It's a fully fledged plugin library. And that's just awesome to see on a first-time device like this. Regardless of whose back end it is, the fact that it's here with this at the price that this is, that's what's important. But yeah, playing around with the buttons on this one, setting up a stream configuration. I want to go to my talking scene. I have that. I want to do a little zoom for effect there. I have that button there. I press the button, it toggles it back. I want to go to my starting soon screen. I have it all there. I want to play my sound effects. I have that there. And then I can come all the way back over to the demo that I was doing right here at this screen. Full-fledged device. I can do everything that I would do on a normal streaming basis with this, as well as some creative stuff, control of my smart devices, my if this then that devices, my smart plugs, my LED lights, the Wi-Fi LED strips that I have all around. I can do it all, which is great, because some of these devices that come out for the first time that don't have access to a software library like this end up being far more limited. And well, this is not that. This is great. Unless you're locked into the greater Elgato ecosystem with other products, if you want a 15-button deck for controlling many things, be that basic audio control, streaming, if this then that, creative softwares, system monitoring, lighting, macros, and all sorts of other stuff, and you don't want to spend a ton of money, this will probably be my go-to recommendation for people. For Fifine's first attempt at something like this, the D6 impresses.
That's good.
If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and that bell so you don't miss any uploads. Also, I stream to Twitch at twitch.tv/coalitionchris, so feel free to stop by, drop a follow, and let's talk tech. Anyways, that does it for me. I'll catch you all in the next one. My name is Chris, and I've been your stream technician. Peace out for now. Bye. Put that in, Brandon. Put that in.